So welcome to the Node.js Technical Steering Committee meeting for July 20th, 2022. We'll follow the agenda that was in the issue within the TSC repo, which was issue number 1261. Before we get started on that, does anybody have any announcements they'd like to share? I think I will mention that there's discussion of a mini summit on TypeScript related to TypeScript support and ergonomics and stuff like that. So if that's a topic you're interested in, I do plan to open an issue in the next 10 on the organization for that probably this afternoon. And there is an issue, I don't have it off the top of my head, but there is an issue in the Node repo where that's being discussed as well. So if you're interested, just want to make sure that people are aware of that and can join. Okay, the next section is CPC and board meeting, board minute updates. On the board front, I don't have too much to update other than that the next meeting is this Friday. So if there is anything you'd like me to bring up there, let me know. Also, I guess it's worth mentioning this will be my last board meeting. And we won't necessarily have anybody on the TSC to be that link. I don't think that's an issue. You know, the general pattern now is to have that through the CPC. So just to say, I think I'll probably update the template to just say a CPC update here, and anything that we would want to be brought to the board should go through that channel versus anything else.
You will continue to be on the CPC, right?
Yeah, I'm still, anybody can.
You're not a node appointee to the CPC. What's your role in the CPC again? Are you appointed by?
I'm just a general member. I am running for, there's positions where there's voting members, from the regular members, but I'm a regular member.
Okay, I thought you were a voting member. My mistake. Got it. Okay.
So I am a voting member, but only through election of a voting member from the regular members.
Okay, it's all coming together for me. Thank you.
As opposed to as opposed to being, you can be a representative of a project, either impact or we elect some from the non-impact projects, and then we also elect two from the regular CPC members. And that's what I've been a voting member to, and I've run, but we'll see how the election of that comes out at this time. I guess so. On to the CPC update.
So I did not attend this week. I don't know if you did, but I didn't see any. I did read the minute. I did read the issue and the minutes stuff, and I don't know if they're actually called minutes, but whatever it was. And I didn't really see anything that called out to be mentioned here. Do you have a different? That's your recollection as well, Michael? Were you at the
No,
meeting?
I think that's true. Other than we should, it was mentioned about the CPC or the CPC. Sort of representative cycle, which is on now, and we have an issue later on, so we should close out on that. But other than that, I didn't have anything in particular to call out now.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, let's move on then to the issues that are tagged. The first one is reinstate RONAG to the TSC. That's issue 43-897, and I suspect Rich, you added that to the agenda.
Yes. Removal when people in a 90-day period don't vote in any of the votes and attend fewer than 25% of the meetings is automatic. It's not a decision of the TSC. So if we want to re-add Robert, we need to do that, and the charter indicates that must be done with a vote. So we have a quorum here, and Beth has also indicated a +1 in the issue for this meeting. I don't know if anybody has anything they want to say, but assuming not, it would be great if everybody could use emoji reactions or something, or short put things in the chat, whatever. But if we could just get everybody to indicate their vote, I can then add the JSON file, blah, 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 blah. So obviously I'm +1, Beth is +1. And let's see here, we have Ruben. Do we have Michael Dawson yet? We do. Yeah. Do we have Richard Lau? We do. Do we have Girish. Yes, we do. Antoine's in there already. Jeffrey, do we have a vote from Jeffrey? You can do a plus or minus 0 if you don't want to. If you want to abstain here, Michael. We have Michael Zazo's in there and Darshan in there. Joy, I see Nikita. I don't see Joy's vote one way or the other. Joy, do you have a vote on reinstating Robert?
I is looking for the place to place my emoji.
Oh, okay. You just want to verbally say you're in favor or not in favor or no opinion?
I guess I'll just abstain.
Okay. And Matteo, you're in favor of reinstating Robert? Is that correct? Or
I am in favor
Yes.
of reinstating.
okay, all right. Joy is an abstain. Everybody else here is an in favor, and Beth isn't in favor, voting in absentia. I think that closes that issue. So great. I'll take care of stuff. So-
Can we just not land that PR?
Yep, I'm going to close that PR.
Yeah, okay, basically comment, we had a vote, it's just how easy,
Yeah,
just
it
wondering
was-
how easy we can make it, that sounds easy,
And-
it's okay.
And there's other discussion in there around other things that I'll take somewhere else, or maybe we'll just have in the closed pull request. But anyway, I think that's all good. I think we're done. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, we can move on to the next one then, which is Node CPC membership for 2022, 2023. This has been on the agenda a number of times, discussed a few times for context. The last comment seems to be to leave it open for another week, which is now passed. So I think we just confirm Rich and Joe at this point.
Yeah, if there at this point it's consensus. If nobody objects, if we have quorum here. If nobody, unless somebody has questions, concerns, objections, Joe and I are effectively reappointed for another year. I'm going to do a quick click over to the issue to make certain that nobody has said anything. Yeah, nobody has said anything in the issue. Nobody else has nominated themselves, et cetera, et cetera. So I think we're done. As long as we just
Thank you for taking the burden of it.
no problem.
Thanks.
Did I take over from you? Were you the one who?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. That
You're
was
welcome.
when. Yeah. That's I keep saying, it's.
Yeah.
It's.
Yeah, no problem. I enjoy it quite a bit actually. So. we're all good.
No, it's a fantastic role. It's just I couldn't at the time, and you're doing a good job. So I'm not. I have. I had to reduce my evening work
Yeah.
due to obvious reason. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, so thanks. And moving on then to the next issue, which is number 612. I would like to become a member. This is related to internationalization. Again, Rich, I think. Did you add to the issue, add to the agenda, or?
I think it was me. Yeah, right. So, and I think probably after last week's meeting, I probably said I was going to do something and I didn't do it, is my guess. Let me look at the issue real quick. I think Matteo commented, yeah. Let's see here. So I said, a week ago, I said I'd take a look at the crowded instance to see if that's at least something we'd like to keep going, and identify any text there. That's what you said. So yeah, I said I would follow up, and I did not. I dropped the ball. Yeah, I could say I'll do it again and actually do it this time, unless somebody else wants to be responsible for figuring out the status of our internationalization efforts and what we should do with them. It's other than the leaving this poor person hanging. This isn't a time critical thing, but I will try to be better about actually getting it done this week. I don't know if there's anything more to talk about.
I guess just to paraphrase, I think we're saying we still need a champion for internationalization efforts, right? Is that fair?
Well, I don't know what a champion would mean in this case, but what we tend to have with internationalization efforts is a lot of people volunteering and then not doing anything. No, that's not fair. It's not that they don't do anything. A lot of people volunteering and then doing a little bit and then, getting, sort of like I said, I would look at Crowdin and then I didn't. That sort of thing happens a lot. It's a huge amount of work to do internationalization right. And or even to do it badly is a huge amount of work, honestly. Yeah, so if we're going to do it, I think this is a case where it really needs, if we're going to continue doing it the way we had originally set it up to be done, we probably need a TSC champion of some kind or something. But I don't know. I'm rambling at this point. I would say let's pick this up next week. We'll figure out the Crowdin piece at least. And I think if we can keep Crowdin, great. And if we can figure out a way to integrate that into the website, even better. But beyond that, I don't know that. I mean, I don't know that we need a larger internationalization effort. I'm not sure what that would entail, and we need somebody more knowledgeable to actually drive that.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
On that topic, I've reviewed a few PRs that were adding French translation of some pages of the website. And translations were good, but the English content itself was so outdated. So we also have that problem.
Right. We're not keeping the English. We're not keeping the English content up to date. I actually noticed this morning that there's an article in there about how to parse arguments that is from 2011 that recommends yargs, I think, and we now have an experimental parse args module. Maybe that should be a link to that instead. But anyway, yeah, agreed. Website content overall is another, there's a few of these issues where there's a large team of mostly inactive people. Website team has over 100 people on it, but there's maybe 5 active people. And this is something we probably want to address at some point, but it's also not super time critical. And we have a private segment to get to, so maybe we should keep going.
Okay, so we'll leave this on the agenda, and maybe that we can use that to drive some of those other discussions too.
Yeah, and I'll actually take a look at Crowdin this week rather than say I will and then not do it. So.
Okay, so the next one is Node.js loaders proposal, rename loaders to hooks. This is number 95 in the loaders repo. And I think, Jeffrey, you added that to the agenda?
Yeah, so that, and also I was asked to just give a quick update in general on the loaders team and the loaders effort. So if I could do that.
Sounds good.
So this is we have a repo, Node.js/loaders, and the basics up here, and then status, which maybe I should call that roadmap, but this is where we are and what we're doing. So loaders were created in the first place along with the ESM effort, basically to provide a way to continue to patch modules in ESM, because that was trivially easy in CommonJS, and that was essentially the way that everyone customized Node, was by monkey patching whatever module they wanted to change the behavior of. That's not possible in ESM. like at least in any of the same ways that it was possible in CommonJS. And so this idea of like registering custom loaders that can like override parts of the module system before any user code is loaded was created. And that's what has been continued to get developed. So this is like the last major kind of lingering to-do item for the ESM effort overall, which is kind of why one reason why the modules team doesn't meet anymore, but the loaders team is still active. I'd also like to say that the loaders team has very little in common with the former modules team. Like I think I'm the only common member between the two. It's a much more productive group, much more collegial, much more collaborative. There's never any need for, votes or escalations or things like that. So, it's a safe place to work. It's a good group to bring questions to. The main people working on stuff are me and Jacob over here. And also Antoine and Guy Bedford, and then Bradley Varias, and although he's kind of taking a bit of a sabbatical. These are the people who've contributed to a lot of the issues. Probably the biggest ones are Andrew Bradley and Mael are probably the two biggest. Stephen Bellinger, been, I think, representing Datadog and instrumentation, has also been quite active. And then a few of these others, Gil Taylor has been around. So yeah, the goal has been to, like, just as an initial goal, try to close any gaps remaining in ESM with CommonJS, so that anyone who wants to do anything in ESM as close as much as possible should be able to, so that at least Node isn't the one holding anyone back from building an app in ESM, building a library in ESM. And we're pretty far. Most, if you look at these checkboxes that are done, the next major thing is moving loaders off thread. That would let certain things be accessed synchronously, which is important for the import.metadata-resolve API that browsers standardize that sync, because our resolve is async. It might offer other opportunities for sharing code between the two, between the ESM loaders and the CommonJS loader. And then this is something that's come up. We've been talking about it for a long time, but it came up more prominently recently in the TypeScript discussion. A way to, like, right now you always call loaders via -- loader flag, and there's no other way to register them. So it's something that's been kind of on the to-do list for a long time, of like, think about some other way that users can define loaders for Node to register before loading application code. That's probably a much bigger discussion that maybe the TSC should be involved in, because, like, if we're going to provide some way to have, say, a configuration file that defines one bit of Node configuration, well, maybe that config file should be able to define all of Node's configuration. So this is a broader question that the broader Node team should be involved in discussing. And then this is about basically just like, this is more like a bug, just improving the support for when a loader imports CommonJS. Currently, I think like tools like TS Node have gotten this to work, where you basically are registering like an old school style CommonJS loader in addition to the new ESM loader, to handle cases of CommonJS intermixed in the tree, like when ESM imports CommonJS, or when CommonJS requires CommonJS, etc. So it would be nice to improve the ergonomics of that, and ultimately it'd be nice to not need to create two types of loaders for two module systems. But at the very least, like, we're going to start with eliminating the bugs and gotchas that are in it already. And if there can be broader merging later on down the road, then that would be great. But that's more of a future effort. And then down here is where I've been putting basically everything else that people have been requesting that feels out of scope for simply achieving parity for CommonJS. Probably the biggest like new feature here is import maps, which are becoming increasingly important because Dino relies on them. That is their module resolution system essentially. And browsers, I think Chrome has shipped them. I think they're in some kind of standards process, or they've been standardized. I don't remember where they are in the process, but these are becoming more like a cross-platform standard for resolution. So it's important for us to add support. You could already achieve this via a custom loader, but because it's becoming a browser standard and it's a Dino standard, it's probably important for us to support it first class built in. And then various helper functions for things that people want to reduce boilerplate for or want to have access to, utility methods, etc. And then the rest of these are here from feedback from the TypeScript team about basically like they want to customize Node to make it feel like a TypeScript runtime. And there are all sorts of little odds and ends of places where you would want to customize to do that. Like, and some of them are things you might not think of, like, tab completion in the REPL. They want to have access to the algorithm that we have for discovering named exports from CommonJS so that they could do stuff with them in the REPL and other places. So this raises the question that just leading into the other issue, which is that, historically all custom, not all, but most customization in Node has been done through monkey patching core modules or monkey patching like things off of core modules. But I think there's been a desire to move away from that because it's a very blunt tool and that doesn't let us kind of control how people customize the runtime at all. I mean, it opens this up for anyone could inject anything, and is there any security around it, et cetera. So as we move beyond customizing module resolution and loading, there's been a desire to maybe make like more formal APIs for the types of customizations that the TypeScript team, that instrumentation teams like Datadog, and also that that one's mostly covered by like the diagnostic channel. And the other one is the Yarn team with Plug and Play. I think Arcanis on here is a member of that team. Like Plug and Play tries to load everything essentially from a virtual file system. So there's all sorts of things that, you want to hijack file system calls that aren't necessarily module loading to achieve that. So these kind of broad use cases, but then I'm sure there are lots of other little ones, are what led to kind of this discussion. Even if the loaders API stays focused on modules, we thought it's, the term loaders is a little confusing since we have a load hook. And if you look at the docs, it's like loaders, hooks, and then we define like these are our three loader hooks. So we've kind of been discussing off and on for a long time, like we should just call this the hooks API because we're providing hooks for people to register functions. Maybe that's too broad because there are other types of hooks in the code base, like async hooks or performance hooks. We're open to suggestions. This has been discussing it. So I wanted to just not that the TSC needs to make that decision, but I just wanted to make you aware that conversation was happening. If people wanted to chime in on this issue. The other thing that perhaps the TSC should be more involved in is, as we get to the end of our first phase of just dealing with module odds and ends, if we do continue along this road for helping TypeScript do all the customization they want, how do we want to handle that? Like, should that happen within this API? Should that happen under the aegis of this team? Do we want to broaden the scope of one or both of those? Do we want to have another team? You know, like, how do we feel about customization of Node in general? That's not just like, you know, command line flags or environment variables, but they're more like, hey, here's a custom function, run this at some defined point in Node's internal flow. So that was kind of the broader discussion that spun out of, you know, hey, we should have a better name for our team. So I just wanted to bring that up with the TSC. And I'll stop sharing unless anyone wants me to keep this up.
Are there any questions that we need to cover before we go to on this, before we move on to the, I think we wanted to finish around this time. I might just quickly read the strategic initiatives part, but is there anything else on this before we move on we should talk about? I guess thanks, Jeffrey, for that update. Probably gives us a little bit of time.
Well, yeah, I guess
things to think about. So we'll.
Yeah, I maybe comment on this thread if I mean, I feel like at this point there's no other team focusing on like customization issues, so that's kind of de facto become our. I mean, everyone comes to us for that because they're used to monkey patching from Common.js, so they feel like, you know, hey, the API that allows monkey patching must be where I go to customize Node. So it's kind of naturally become our scope, but if the TSC has ideas for how to better manage like that aspect of Node to split out the like the non-module customizations, you know, yeah, please reach out to me and comment on that issue, and we can keep talking about it, or we can reschedule it for the next TSC meeting. So,
Thanks. Okay, so just the last thing was the strategic initiative. So the V8 currency, Michael posted that the updates are still blocked in various issues. So if anybody has time to go help with those different issues, that would be great. Joy, do you want to just quickly cover startup performance?
Sure. I've unblocked I've removed the blocker, fixed the blockers of the runtime snapshot progress. So, but we'll be sending it out for review this week, hopefully. Yeah.
Okay, great. And on the next 10 front, just mentioned as mentioned, there's some discussion about helping to set up the session on TypeScript related stuff. We're planning a session on threading at the next Collaborator Summit and working through some of the actions in the technical priority working summary and related issues in the next 10 repo if anybody's interested. So with that, maybe we'll close out and move to the private session unless there's anything else somebody thinks we should cover. Okay, if not, thanks for everybody who's been watching on the live stream, and we'll see you on GitHub and next.